Today we're going to talk about the one-eyed man. The story starts with an old photo. In 1960, a young scholar followed local herders to a grassland at the southern foot of the Altai Mountains. Along the way, the herdsman told an ancient legend on the grassland. He said that the place I will take you to has 3 tall pyramids, which are made of millions of stone flakes. In addition to the 3 large pyramids, there are dozens or hundreds of small pyramids on the grassland. There are 10 city walls piled on the periphery of these pyramids, and the city walls and pyramids form ring-shaped pyramids. Legend has it the people who built these pyramids were the grassland overlords 4 to 5,000 years ago. They were tall, mighty, brave and good at fighting. They also had superb culture and technology. They believed in a god who imparted a lot of knowledge to them through human shaman cheese-making, horse training, herding, etc. They dominated the grasslands for a total of 2 to 3,000 years, until one day, they suddenly disappeared, disappearing from the grassland without a trace. You may not believe it, but their gods or warriors and residents all have only one eye, and this eye is in the middle of their foreheads. They are called one-eyed people, and their country is called the one-eyed country. It was getting late as we spoke, and the herdsmen and young people set up tents on the spot. In the tent and continued to tell the young people, "You came all the way from Beijing. I will not lie to you. The grassland beneath my feet was once the territory of the one-eyed country. It is true that the residents of the one-eyed kingdom only have one eye. Tomorrow I will take you to find their pyramids and their ruins." This young man is Wai. Wang means he, who just graduated from the Department of Archaeology of Peking University. Then the young man spoke and believed in the existence of the one-eyed kingdom. High Kingdom, because the classic of mountains and seas said that the one-eyed kingdom was to the east of Zhongshan, and they only had one eye, in the middle of their cheeks. The young man also said that Zhongshan. Some people say it is the Luoyang Mountains in Shaanxi, and some people say it is the Helan Mountains in Ningxia. But I think it is the Altai Mountains in Xinjiang, because the classic of mountains and seas also says that Zhongshan is a quicksand resource. I think this quicksand it refers to the Altai Mountains and the Zhenghe Desert below the mountains. In addition, Huainan Easy also records the one-eyed country, and the one-eyed man. It would be fine if it is just an isolated document from China. In addition to Chinese records, Herodotus, the father of ancient Greek history, recorded that the pyramids were built by who? The ancient Egyptologist who built it. He also once recorded the one-eyed kingdom in the Altai Mountains. The one-eyed people were called Arimaspi by the Greeks. The Greeks also said that they were brave and good at fighting and had advanced technology. Herodotus' record comes from another ancient Greek 200 years ago. This man said that he had seen the one-eyed man in the Altai Mountains. At that time, the one-eyed kingdom was at war with the Griffins, who were also very advanced. The Griffins were the guardians of gold. The young man said again, "You see, no matter the historical records of the East and the West, or the legends you told me along the way, they all seem to say that this one-eyed country was once a powerful kingdom on the grassland. But why did they suddenly disappear? Why do they only have one eye?" As he spoke, the drizzle outside the tent had turned from drizzle to heavy snow, and then to stone like hail. No one in the tent spoke anymore. I hope God will not make things difficult for them, and wait until tomorrow, after the weather clears, to leave a path for them to travel through the grassland. Early the next morning, Wang Mingxiu was the first to walk out of the tent. He was immediately stunned by the sight in front of him. In front of you is a stone mountain, often obviously piled artificially. It is about 20 meters high, and about 100 meters in diameter. It looks like the pyramid mentioned by the herdsman. This pyramid is particularly conspicuous in the endless grassland. Not far away, the sacred object of the grassland shaman, the deer stone, stands on the grassland. It turned out that they slept all night in a magnificent prairie temple. Such a magnificent temple, based on the nomadic productivity of the grasslands 3 to 5,000 years ago. This temple was definitely the center of the entire Eurasian grassland at that time. This nation was undoubtedly the overlord of the grasslands. Could it be that he found the legendary one-eyed man so easily? National ruins. At this time the herders also walked out of the tent, and they told Wang Mingxi that this was the legendary one-eyed country. The valley is 700 meters above sea level. It is also called Sandahosi. It is composed of 3 valleys of different sizes. There are lakes and swamps in each valley. The water comes from the melted ice and snow in the surrounding Altai Mountains. They are called Bian, Haizi, Haizai, Zog and Dahiz and Huhaisi. Yesterday I couldn't see the road clearly. It turned out that I had walked into the sea of flowers without knowing it, since it was already September and the weather was uncertain. Wang Mingxi and his party did not dare to stay in the valley for too long. After 2 days of inspection, the group hurried down the mountain. They planned to inspect again next summer. During this inspection, Wang Mingxi preliminarily concluded that these may be grassland tombs from 3,000 years ago. There is still some gap between them and the Dumu ruins from 4 to 5,000 years ago that herders said. However, there are still many doubts about these sites that require further research. First say, where did the stone raw materials for these pyramids come from? There are no less than 150. If these stones were moved from the Altai Mountains, it would take more than 10 years for 1,000 people to work 7 times 24 hours. Plus the logistics of quarrying. The project is a super project that mobilizes at least 100,000 people. We all know that the grassland peoples live a nomadic life. It is already very difficult to organize 85,000 years ago. It was very difficult to organize 100 people to work. Which grassland overlord had such strength? In our known history, only Genghis Khan has ever had these capabilities. In other words, this legendary one-eyed country established an empire as powerful as Genghis Khan 3 to 5,000 years ago. Following this line of thinking, the next question arises. What is the role of these pyramids after spending so much money to build them? Why do they have such legends, and can they remain undiscovered for thousands of years? A religious temple. Then why do hundreds of similar buildings need to be built in such dense numbers? Are these large circle within a slow forms unheard of on the grassland? What kind of religion did this former grassland overlord believe in? These roadstones standing around seem to tell their belief. However, why did shamans in other areas in later generations never build this form of stone pyramids again? Were these roads built together with the pyramids at that time? Or were they built by the people on the grasslands later? Third, and the last question, the magical project is just around the corner. So is the one-eyed country and the one-eyed people a legend or a reality? Could it be that the one-eyed people are not actually the same kind of people as us, that there are aliens behind them, and that they built this miraculous project under the guidance of the aliens? This miraculous project may not be a tomb or a temple. Does it have some other uses? After the expedition ended in a hurry, Wang Mingxi wrote a paper about his adventure experience and introduced it to the entire archaeological community. He hoped that someone would help him uncover the secrets behind the one-eyed country, but he had been waiting for 40 years. The academic community officially named the sites and a Hosi ancient stone pile and gave a unified and reasonable explanation. Herodotus, the father of ancient Greek history, said there are Greeks who have been to the one-eyed kingdom in history. He has a travel diary recording the trip. The travelogue records that he set out from the Black Sea and headed eastward, first arriving at the territory of the Isiatonians, then the one-eyed men, then the Griffins and Chothor, then the Hipporians. Experts have analyzed that the Isdam people here are the ancestors of the Wisan and Urusui in Chinese history, that is, the nation that Zheng Tian sent to the western regions and prepared to join forces with them to attack the Xingoni. The Griffins here are the ancestors of the Scythians. The Scythians are a branch of the Aryan people in the west. They have lived near the Altai Mountains for generations. It is reasonable for them to be called the guardians of gold, because the Altai Mountains have been rich in gold since ancient times. The largest piece of gold nugget in the world is still there. Someone picked it up among the grass in the Altai Mountains. I will share more about the legend of gold in the Altai Mountains in the future. Today we will sort out these ancient clues first. The Hipporian last recorded in the travelogue. In fact, it is another translation of Siberian, which is the Siambi people in Chinese history. The legendary Isatong, Griffin and Apapurin can all find their counterparts in reality, but the so-called Anamas in this one-eyed country cannot find their counterparts. Why is this? The expert went on to explain that in Scythian language, anima means you and spu means as. The ancient Greeks heard about the one-eyed man from the Scythians, so this word made the Greeks believe in the one-eyed man. In fact, this is just a fairy tale spread by rumors. Obviously, the ancient Greek who wrote the travelogue had never been to Altai in person, nor had he seen the one-eyed man with his own eyes. Because Alamespua does not actually mean an eye in the local language. This is actually a sentence which should be translated as lonely watcher. As a result, the lonely watcher went to the Scythians and became an eye. Then the one-eye went to the Greeks and became the one-eyed man. From a modern perspective, this is simply the oldest textbook level case of spreading rumors. However, this statement obviously cannot convince everyone, because in addition to ancient Greek records, there are also records in Chinese documents in the East. Why are there records of the one-eyed kingdom and one-eyed man in the classic of mountains and seas and Huinan Easy, which are consistent with the ancient Greek documents? They were located on the grasslands of the Altai Mountains. Then the experts explained that the one-eyed man might be a mask they wore to scare people during war. Some people jumped out and asked, why can't the one-eyed man look like the helmet of an ancient astronaut? Researchers say that the ancient Greeks did not see the one-eyed man 2700 years ago. They only recorded a local legend that was much older than 2700. However, this legend is by no means groundless, because there are more abundant people in China. Clue. Then the researcher took out two oracle bone inscriptions, namely Shu and Bai. Aren't these two oracle bone inscriptions the image of the one-eyed man? Behind these two oracle bone inscriptions, there is an ancient legend that has been passed down to this day. The Yi people in Guizhou, China, have always believed that their ancestors were one-eyed people. Later, the one-eyed people combined with the locals and evolved into vertical-eyed people. The vertical-eyed people evolved again and became horizontal-eyed people like today's people. This legend has also been found in archaeological discoveries such as the vertical-eyed bronze masking Zhangxingdui. Secondly, the ancient Dongji legend also said that alongside the Yellow Emperor, in addition to the Yan Emperor, there was a White Emperor. This White Emperor was the Yimu Emperor, and this White Emperor was later called Xiaohou in Central Plains mythology. Xiaohou represents the west, which echoes the direction of the Altai Mountains. Today, it echoes the Altai Mountains, the alias of the Altai Mountains. According to historical records, the White Emperor came to live in the Central Plains before the Emperor. In today's Shandong area, Kaya is the subordinate of the White Emperor, and the ancestor of the Xiaohou tribe is called Taihou. In Dongji legends, a Taihou is Fuxi, and Fuxi, he and Niwa are brother and sister. They are raised with the head of a human and the body of a snake. They are technologically advanced. Therefore, combining the above legends, Fuxi and Niwa's racial technology was very advanced, and they may have been able to fly in space in ancient times. They wear helmets that make them appear to be an eye. They may be advanced extraterrestrial visitors, or they may be the prehistoric civilization indigenous to the earth. In short, they created a tribe in the Altai Mountains, and this tribe worshipped an eye. As for why they chose the Altai Mountains as a location, it was clear that gold abounded here. There have been many examples in our previous stories illustrating the meaning of brass and gold. Obtaining these resources is the reason why ancient astronauts were interested in the Earth and humans. However, later a very big disaster occurred in the Altai region, which forced them to migrate. They migrated eastward and southward respectively, leaving the grassland. So there were silkworms from the ancient Shu Kingdom and Shaohou from the Dongji Kingdom. In the process, they also continued to integrate with the local tribes, and the Hume-Koic faith slowly disappeared. To this day, a Hume-Koic faith is only vaguely preserved in ancient oracle bone inscriptions. And there is another question: why do Xiaohou, who claims to be from Fuxi, rarely mention Niwa in their legends today? This may be because Niwa did not escape from that catastrophe. Faced with the catastrophe, Niwa chose to sacrifice herself and gain a chance for her people to evacuate. So what exactly will this catastrophe be? Is the mythical Niwa patching up the sky description of this disaster? It seems that we can also find very important clues in the archaeological discoveries in the Altai Mountains, which we will share in the next issue.